The main message of the book that I've just produced with my colleagues Joe Hanlon and Armando Barrientos is summed up in the title, Just Give Money to the Poor. The book looks at giving small amounts of money in old age pensions, child support grants, disability allowances, assistance for poor families on a regular basis, with something that we call social protection. And we find that these social protection schemes are working very effectively to reduce poverty and also to help people overcome the day-to-day problems that they encounter. We've written this book, Just Give Money to the Poor, because we think this is a very important message. Many people, particularly people in the rich world, but quite often ministers of finance and people who program public expenditure, think this is a crazy idea. They say, but if you give money to poor people, they will probably waste it. They maybe will buy beer, they'll buy clothes, they'll buy unnecessary things and that. We've written the book because there is an overwhelming amount of evidence now that shows that is not the case. When poor people get small amounts of money on a regular basis in some sort of assistance program or allowance, then the evidence from Brazil, South Africa, India, Mexico, Bangladesh is that they use the money wisely. They get that money and they really think very carefully about how to use it. They plan how to use it. Some of it they use as is expected for consumption. They'll buy more food if they're short of food. They'll improve their nutrition. But one also finds that a lot of these allowances go into micro businesses and micro enterprises. People will use the money to buy a bag of fertilizer to put on their crop so that their yield is higher, so that they've got more money in the future. And one finds that these social protection schemes contribute to growth and to improve productivity. And one regularly finds that they also use the money to invest in their children. That may mean buying textbooks, paying school fees, or getting clothes so that children can go to school. Quite often, poor children can't go to school because they haven't got school uniforms. The results that come out of these programs, and again this is across a whole range of countries, are showing positive impacts. The obvious one that one would expect is that people have got higher incomes because they're actually getting a grant. But it moves well beyond that. One finds that food and nutrition improve, and that means improved health. That children actually grow taller and have a body mass index which is higher, which is good because quite often those children would have been undernourished in the past. That educational levels go up and that children are more literate and more numerate. And if one thinks these things through, then longer term this adds to economic growth. It means that economic growth is distributed across the population and it makes societies more cohesive and adds to political stability. Now, when we say just give money to the poor, we don't mean throw it out of the back of planes. We need carefully designed schemes which target the right people, give it them at regular intervals and monitor what is happening and monitor the results. That used to be perhaps quite a difficult thing to do, but because we've got several of these schemes operating so effectively now, we've got a lot of knowledge so that we can design these schemes and make sure that they work. We know that they need to be relatively simple. We don't want to make these programs overcomplicated, as some programs have been in the past and as many overseas aid programs are. And we also want to make sure that we give poor people significant amounts of choice in these, that people get the cash and they can decide whether to buy food with it, whether to put it into healthcare, whether to pay for school for children's uniforms, or whether to use it for fertilizer and to improve their productivity. And so we've summed up the message of this research in the book's title, Just Give Money to the Poor. We believe this is a really effective way of reducing poverty and contributing to development.